Our next guest is with a company that has been making it possible to access more operating systems from different hardware than anybody else is ever able to do. And it's always a pleasure to have him on the program. Once again, Vice President of Desktop Virtualization from Parallels is Nick Dubrovolskiy. Was I close?
Yes, thank you very much.
Welcome back into Tomorrow, Nick. Glad to have you with us. You guys, of course, created Parallels Desktop. A lot of folks, especially that are used to using more than one operating system, are very familiar. Now having access using iOS and Android. What do each of them do, and how does that make a difference? And then, of course, we'll also talk about the latest version for your computer as well.
Exactly. So Parallels Desktop is our initial product, and now we have the anniversary Parallels Desktop 10 version. It allows to run Windows and other operating systems on Mac effectively with integrating both Windows and Mac together, that you can work with. You can forget about Windows and work with just your Windows applications like they were Mac applications. And Parallels Access is the next product which we introduced last year, and this year released the version 2 already. It allows you to access your Windows and Mac applications on your desktop from your Android or iPhone or iPad, so from mobile devices, but effectively, and we optimize a lot those desktop applications that they look and work like they are native applications for those mobile devices.
But still, of course, not able to go the other direction. Like if I have a Windows machine, I'm not going to be able to use the Apple operating system.
Not, unfortunately, not.
That's because Apple doesn't want to play nice, right? However, Windows, not a problem. And
Windows on Mac, you can use it.
Sure, and many Macs do just that, whether they're friends that have Windows programs that they're dealing with or sharing or otherwise having to work with. You find a lot of users, a lot of Mac users are using Parallel and
exactly.
Windows.
So funny enough, Parallels Internet Explorer is like the most widely used application inside Parallels Desktop for Mac. On Mac, and then goes obviously Microsoft Office. So Microsoft Office has a huge use inside Parallels Desktop.
Now, is what you were talking about earlier part of what makes Access different from other remote desktop solutions? Because there's a few companies, obviously, that allow you to connect. I mean, go to My PC and what, PC Anywhere or so. There's so many different things, but folks are still doing a lot with Parallels.
Exactly. There are three major things. So one thing is that those other solutions, they offer you remote access to your whole big desktop with not optimized way for switching between your applications, for looking at those tiny applications, trying to put your finger instead of your very precise mouse, put your fat finger, etc., etc. And they are not optimized for those changing network environments which mobile devices are on. So you switch from Wi-Fi to 3G, etc. You go back, and this causes a lot of interruption into your work. Parallels Access, first of all, it focuses in applications, not the operating system, not the desktop, but applications themselves. And also it does a lot to integrate better into touch experience, so to optimize those desktop applications into touch experience of your mobile device.
Now, I've heard some discussion here at IFA and the Parallels exhibit about an idea, an interesting situation from highway patrol officers using Parallels. Now, how are they using it differently?
Exactly. So this is in the US. They have those tough books, like big,
Panasonic tough books,
protected laptops, which take like the whole passenger seat, nearly. And they wanted to get rid of those. So one of their officers, he just put that tough book at his office, and he started driving with his own iPad and with his own license of Parallels Access. And then he showed to his officers, and they were all like crazy about it because he told a story that he went to a guy doing like an investigation on site outside of his car, and so the guy whom he was interviewing, he thought that he has nothing with him because just some notes in his iPad, but he had access to the full police database, and so he tried to ask some questions, and those questions were answered incorrectly by the guy. And checking in the database, he was able to check that. So the whole police department, they bought those Parallels Access licenses and iPads, and now they are accessing their tough books while they are on the road.
Oh, very cool. And so now they're still able to get everything they need, but not have the big, bulky, military-grade laptop that's in the way, and they can't have a civilian observer ride with them or something. Tell me now about the difference between Parallels Desktop 10 and some of the new changes. And Chris will zoom in to your laptop, and we'll chat about this. I'm seeing Windows 8.1, for example.
Exactly. So very quickly, first of all, it is now has Yosemite look, and if we create a new virtual machine, there is an ability to get modern IE test environments, various Windows flavors for our testers and developers. And if we go to the Windows and show some of the Yosemite features. Then, for example, I can now, in Internet Explorer, I can select a phone number, and if I right-click, I can call this number through my iPhone. And you see that it says I can call now from my iPhone, and it's calling from my iPhone now, our German office here in Munich.
And you just hung up on them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to talk
but thank you for demonstrating that, because but I get the idea. That's very cool, and it's one of those things that would be nearly impossible with some other of these remote access things. It might dial, but you probably wouldn't be able to communicate because all of that information isn't coming back to your remote device. But here, Parallels is making it happen.
Exactly.
And that's one of the advantages then of Parallels 10, the Desktop 10.
Yeah, Parallels Desktop 10, it brings definitely brings all the Yosemite features to Windows, the new coming operating system from Apple. And as well, it brings more performance and more battery life, so up to 30% more battery life for your laptops, which is very important for travelers.
Yeah, absolutely. Parallels.com for more. Nick, thanks for spending a few minutes with us here at IFA in Berlin. Keep making cool things. We keep talking about them.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We're back with more from IFA here in Berlin, Germany. I'm Dave Graveline. Into Tomorrow continues on the Advanced Media Network.